Hi, favored ones. Welcome to Soul Talk. Our guest for today is Coach Rezza Custodio-Soriano. She is a Creatrix Transformologist for women and Femme Power Life Coach. She helps women break their inner glass ceilings so that they could gain more fulfillment, purpose, and meaning in their lives. So actually, I'm really excited for this talk, and I'm glad that she's free and she is available to talk about her journey. So let's welcome Coach Rezza.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for inviting me to your community. And hello, everyone. I hope you're having an awesome day.
So, kamusta ka na, Coach Rezza? How are you?
Mabuti.
What keeps you busy? Ngayon na ECQ na naman.
Yeah. Well, actually, very interesting because I had just recently, I call it recent, it's just a few months ago. I recently transitioned to being a full-time coach and transformologist. September of last year, I stepped out of my comfort zone.
Yes,
Being
I
a
saw that one.
co-founder, being a co-founder of a data science company, right? Being a co-founder of a data science company, I was with that company for about 5 years. We started it in 2015 and I left in 2020. But on the side, since 2011, I've been coaching. And a lot of my coaching since 2017 or 2018, marami na rin akong nagawang online coaching. So it was very natural transition for me to continue on with coaching since I was already doing it online before pa. And so now that's what I'm doing. I'm doing workshops, I'm doing transformology sessions, I'm doing one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and yes, and giving some talks, doing some interviews as well every week on my Facebook Live. Yeah.
Actually, it's such a fun work, if you ask me. It's really fun. But
Yeah.
coming from tech, because data science and business intelligence, that's so geeky. It's so techy. And then now you're doing self-development,
Yeah.
self-leadership.
Yeah. Actually, I've been in this realm, in this industry since 2010
Mm-hmm.
in personal development, but doing spiritual counseling, Christian counseling. I was doing it for like 16 years. Super tagal na, back in the 90s pa. Back in the 90s pa. So those were the two sides of my life. Being in corporate, background ko talaga is marketing. Marketing, digital marketing, okay? And then the other side, I was doing a lot of service in my former church community. Pero if you look at the hours I spent, halos 50-50. Kasi in the church, I was also serving Monday to Sunday, doing
Wow.
counseling, doing talks, going around the country, giving talks, giving retreats. And
Amazing.
So para siyang 50-50. Kaya medyo na burnout ako when I was in my 30s. When I turned, I think, 31. When I turned 31, that's when I was so burnt out because financially I was drained. And then physically I was also drained. So I had to choose. Around about that age, probably. And so all my life, since I was 18, I was always serving the Lord. I was really torn kasi I'd rather serve God rather than earn money. Yun yung naging pakay ko when I was single. Talagang service kay Lord. But then, nagkaroon ng turnaround sa buhay ko when my family needed financial help. And ako yung naging breadwinner. So I had to choose. Service ba? Na yung oras ko libre para sa lahat, sa mga humihingi ng tulong, sa mga nagbibigay sa akin assignments to go around the country? Or do I serve my family? So, yun. Naglaylo ako sa community para makapag-focus on my career for 4 years. For 4 years. And then later on, bumalik na ako dun sa, nung kumita na ako ng malaki, sabi ko, okay, Lord, okay na ako, time to go back. Time to go back.
Oo.
Yeah.
Different seasons lang talaga.
Yes.
But now you're doing this full time.
Yes. I feel like it's come full circle Only because, so share ko to sa'yo, Michelle, no? Before, when I was helping others, I was giving it voluntarily as part of my church service. But now I found a way to marry the two. That my service is also my way of earning and taking care of myself. So that's why I'm here full time.
Could you talk, or at least could you share what Creatrix Transformologist for Women is all about and being a Femme Power Life Coach? Because it's so different from the other professional life coaches that I see. Could you share something about it? What's unique about it? And what do you love best about your work right now?
Okay. Siguro just as a little background, when I was in counseling and when I started coaching, I would cater to both men and women. I would help both. Kasi sino yung may kailangan, sinong lumapit, kung available ako. Minsan, pag couples, hati kami ng husband ko, husband sa kanya, wife sa akin. Anyway. But then, sorry, may short background. But then, actually in 2010, nagkaroon ako ng vision. At that time, I was still employed in a telco company. When I attended this personal leadership workshop, I had a vision that I was standing in front of an auditorium full of women. And they were just giving me a standing ovation. I was just standing on the stage and they were all clapping and cheering. So when I woke up from the vision, I was like, ano yun? Ano yun? It didn't mix. Because I was doing a desk job in marketing. I mean, marketing's been my background ever since I graduated from college. So I was like, what was I doing there? Who was I talking to? Because it felt like Radio City Hall levels. Okay. It was that kind of like huge place. That was in 2010. And then fast forward, doing my job, doing coaching, I got tagged by a woman who I had helped in Singapore because she was having a meltdown. She was supposed to do something on stage and I was one of the crew. As in volunteer crew. I flew to Singapore as a volunteer crew.
Wow.
Walang bayad. Di ba? Walang bayad, yes.
Yan ang dedication.
Yun ang service.
To serve God.
Ganyan tayo mag-serve. But this one was a train the trainer. Anyway, so this woman was having a meltdown. This nurse was trying to help her. She couldn't get out of it. I approached her and then I helped her. And 15 minutes later, nakabangon siya, nakakit siya sa stage. So that same woman, I didn't know her. I thought she was Pinay. I was talking to her in Filipino, but she apparently was Dutch. Okay. Oh. So she tags me on Facebook and I'm like, what's this? And I watched the videos and when I was watching the videos, sobra akong kinilabutan. Goosebumps galore. Because nag-flashback yung vision ko from 2010. So I go, Lord, are you calling me to already do this or to step up? So that's how I got into being a Creatrix Transformologist. Sinagot ko ba yung question? Hindi pa, di ba? What's the difference? As a Creatrix Transformologist, we do not do coaching. It is not coaching, counseling, or any other forms of therapy that is available. It's not hypnotherapy. It's none of those. It is actually relatively new. The difference is it is created only for women. So if men approach me, can you Creatrix me for my issues? Oh no, sorry, I can't help you, sir. So it is designed specifically understanding how a woman is created differently. And this is where deep-seated patterns na kahit anong nasubukan na approach, bumabalik. Sa kay Creatrix, all those emotional issues nawawala. And based on my experience, based on what I've seen, the results are long-lasting. The results are amazing. And ang daming nare-resolve na issues in a shorter period of time. So for me, when I got into it, I didn't know that those were the differences. But when I experienced it, for me, that was like the icing on the cake. Kasi years of coaching already. But when I undertook the Creatrix experience, it was for me, it really helped me knock out a lot of issues that I felt really so free. And when I say I felt free, it's like, the issues never came back. The issues never hounded me again. So, Reza, you're already a Creatrix Transformologist. Why are you still a Fempower coach? So, Fempower, well, it is life coaching. It is also facilitation. It is also leadership. It's very different naman because number one, it's coaching. Number two, it's facilitating workshops. So it has a certain structure for it. Fempower coaching is good for clients who would want to focus on one or two key areas of their life. Again, for women only, okay, and and it is good for self-actualizing women. When I say self-actualizing women, these are women who are already at that stage. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they are already above that stage where they are wanting to create change for themselves and already are taking responsibility for their growth. Okay. Si Creatrix Transformology naman is good for women who have tried everything. They've tried coaching, they've attended all these seminars, they've already invested a lot in themselves, and yet there are issues that still are clinging and hanging on. The analogy I would use is, if in Fempower, I help women focus on specific areas in their life, Creatrix para siyang buffet.
All
Buffet
aspects,
because,
ganon.
yes, all aspects that are bothering you and that are like keeping you stuck, we can address it in one program.
It's amazing. Parang you covered both sides of it.
Yeah, I think it also kasi because dami kong pinagdaanan as a woman. Ang naman as a man, no? Ang dami kong pinagdaanan. Ang dami kong pinagdaanan talaga, especially when I was single. A lot of heartbreaks, broken relationships, a lot of financial stress. I was financially tied for several years kasi breadwinner ako. Ang daming mga issues at basta ang dami kong pinagdaanan that my self-identity before I got into this industry was really shattered. As in 6 feet under levels na ang baba ng self-esteem ko, ang baba ng tingin ko sa sarili ko. I felt so poor. I felt so deprived kasi I didn't have any savings. Lahat napunta sa family ko. So I went through a lot of those. I was rejected by men kasi hindi daw ako mayaman. Or sinabihan ako ng mga magulang nila that I was not fit for their sons. May mga ganyan akong mga napagdaanan. Yeah. So there. Yeah, parang for me, when I decided to get into like focusing on women, it's because having counseled also so many women in 16 years, lahat na ng klaseng issues na pagdaanan ko na in terms of. That's why nothing shocks me anymore when a client would come to me and they would be so hesitant to share their background or their issues. I'm no longer faced kasi talagang I've heard it all. I've handled all cases already. So parang chill lang talaga sa akin. And of course, kasi ako mismo ang dami kong napagdaanan. So it was just a natural progression that my pains, plural, my pains became an avenue for me to pursue my passion, not just my life purpose, but my soul passion and my soul purpose, because it just made sense. It just made sense.
So that's a beautiful story that you shared. And I love yung sinabi mo na how parang you went full circle. Where in corporate, when you had the chance to go into this kind of work, balik ulit corporate, and now you're doing this full time. And it's really brave that you left your company during the pandemic to pursue this one.
I know, right?
Not everyone would be able to do that. And
Yeah.
you're a co-founder, right?
Yep.
So
I'm one of the
co-founder ka na
owners.
nun.
Yep. And and I left at the time when we had opened our US office.
And expanding, diba?
Yeah.
Amazing.
My other partners were like looking at me. Are you sure? I mean, this is such a great time to stay. But the clarity in my heart was so unshakable. It was like God was telling me talagang, Reza, time to let go na, time to let go, because He's been speaking to my heart for years. For years, Michelle, to really pursue what I'm doing now. But my ego kept me in my comfort zone. My fears kept me in my comfort zone. When I finally let go and decided, God's ways are not our ways, His thoughts are not our thoughts, right? His wisdom is beyond all human wisdom. When I allowed Him to speak to my heart and just, fully surrender, it just really came crystal clear that there was no more reason for me to hang on to my other company.
And parang kasi I also follow parang immediately after you announce that you have already left the company and you're going to do this full time, parang biglang meron ng mga workshops. Talagang you're offering na talaga full time, accepting clients.
Yes. Kasi
Was
nag-out na
there,
ako.
meron
Nag-out
bang
na ako.
difficulty in transitioning to workshops, to one-on-one sessions, to speaking? Was there a
None.
gap? So
None.
smooth.
Because I was already doing it prior. I remember in my
Oo.
years of counseling pa lang in the 1990s. Gosh, I make myself so dated, no?
Pero you look so young.
Thank you. So back in the 90s, early 2000, I was already giving a lot of talks. I was already standing on stage. I was already leading worship. I was already doing one-on-one counseling. So it was just so normal. Yes, Luna. That's Luna, my cat. Yeah. So it was just so natural for me to transition. The only difference was now mas focused ako. So my FemPower workshops, I've been doing it since 2018, 2019. But I don't announce it kasi I want to keep my workshops intimate. As much as possible, I just invite people. I just open it up to a small circle of women because I want to keep the numbers small. But now that it's online, why should I even do that, right? Doing it online just means opening up the doors for more women to be able to access it. So there.
Can you talk a little more about self-leadership? For you, what does it mean for you personally? How did it change your life?
Oh, thank you for that wonderful question. When I discovered personal or self-leadership, like you would call it was in 2010 when I was at that stage na I felt like such a victim of my circumstances and my situation. I felt like I was a victim of being trapped in my family kasi breadwinner ako nun eh. In failed relationships, one after the other. So when I stepped into that world, it first started with attending a seminar, public seminar called PSI Basic. It was a 4-day workshop seminar. That's when I discovered na, yes, I do have my own power. Yes, I do have my own capability. I don't have to be at the receiving end of things. So that was when I discovered how it is to move from the culturescape. Meaning, right, this is my family background, this is what the world is doing to me, this is what the economy is, how it's affecting me, this, etc., etc. So that's the culturescape, right? And well, admittedly, 98% of the world's population are in the culturescape. But getting exposed to that workshop moved me from that culturescape level to the second level of awareness, which is awakening, right? And in that awakening, it's already that point where, yes, I can create something to bring me out of my current situation. Yes, I can be a co-creator of life rather than just what do you call this? A a participant who's just waiting for things to happen. Instead of waiting for things to happen, I will do something because I have my free will. I have my power, my intellect, my God-given talents. I have all of those. So why don't I use it? Why don't I use it? So for me, self-leadership is really leading yourself. Leading yourself, not waiting for people to push you, not waiting for people to tell you what to do. It is not expecting others to fix you, because there are a lot of people who are like that. They go to all sorts of sources waiting to be fixed. Like, doctor, I'm sick. Can you heal me? Can you fix me? To the point that I want to be helped and I can do something so that I can move forward and not just rely on another person to do it for me.
It's really very powerful for someone to take that responsibility while recognizing the strength inside, the inner power, and to co-create and not just rely on the culture, the landscape, whatever story that they in. Ang ganda
Alam mo
nun.
ba, Michelle, 16 years ako Christian counselor. So 16 years din akong leader in my previous church community. My discovery is that, I will not mention what community, no, but a lot of communities are like this. When people come to the church to pray and to worship, and they see God as this God who's like far away, above them, beyond them, asking, help me with my school, help me with my finances, help me with my family, help me. What I noticed, and this is something that just dawned on me a couple of years ago, what I noticed was that people would beg to God or ask or turn to God, but still consider themselves helpless, a helpless victim. Like, pag nagka-problema, takbo ulit kay Lord. Pray, 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 fix, 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 solve, solve, solve. But they will not do anything to change their situation. They'll just wait for God to do something. Eh, anong nangyayari? When nothing happens, nagtatampo kay God. They feel disappointed, hurt, rejected. So that's why I became more passionate towards coaching. Because yes, in coaching, it's like making them see the greatness that is already within them. Dami, lahat naman ng everyone has that spark of greatness within them that's just waiting to be uncovered through the layers that just got accumulated and dumped on their person because of adulting or because of adulthood, right? I mean, those issues were not really big issues when you were a kid because you were just thinking about your broken toy, thinking of what merienda or food your mom was going to give you. But adulting happened. A lot of people were not prepared for adulting. So I just wanted to share that because, yeah, that was my observation. Ako, coming from being a church leader for so long, I was in that position. I was already a covenanted disciple, serving and serving 24/7, Monday to Sunday. And yet, because of my circumstances, I felt like a victim. So when I discovered personal leadership, wow, it shattered so many myths about who I was in relation to my God. So what happened was that when I discovered my own power, started practicing and coming out and coming up, making my gifts come out, all the more it was clear to me who God really was, what his relationship was with me. And he's not just this person who would just like throw blessings and like, okay, this is what you're going to need. So, just, use it, enjoy it. It was really also me taking responsibility for my life because we are here on earth. He's up there in the spiritual realm. So what do you do with it, right? It's doing our part. It's doing our part. That's why self-empowerment, personal empowerment for me means so much, especially in our culture, in the Filipino culture, right? Where women are still the not as favored. A lot of structures still favor the masculine side of things, masculine side of society. I am just so passionate about making women just discover their inner power.
And we're really blessed to have you do your work to finally answer the call that has been, being
Finally,
whispered to you for several
for
years.
years, yeah.
Mm-mm. Pero throughout your journey, what do you think are the most important lessons that you have gained, that you bring into the table when you're now this femme power life coach, this creatrix transformologist? So what are the important lessons that you're bringing into the table?
Okay, number one, women are not weak. Women are not weak. Our being women, our being feminine, is actually a greater strength. Greater strength. Sometimes it's actually stronger than masculine. It is actually. Because if you look at it,
Naturally, I would agree.
yeah, no, kasi look at this. Masculine energy is normally associated with physical strength. True or true?
True,
Physical
yes.
strength, right? But feminine strength, feminine power is found in, so parang yung hard versus soft, okay? So strength, power, endurance, consistency, discipline, masculine. Love, nurturing, compassion, empathy, care, feminine. But the greatest of all these is love.
Yes.
That's why in other religions, God is seen as a female entity. Oh, that's Luna, by the way. God is
Oh,
seen as a female entity because God is love. Wait lang. Siya,
okay
can you
lang.
pause lang ba? Wait. Wait lang kasi. Luna. Wait ha. Luna. Calm down. Wait kasi. Sorry. About before you press play, what were we talking about?
Oh, it's now playing. Okay lang yan. We'll just go as is. Ano,
Sorry,
ningat-ngat
this is,
ni Luna the cat yung
yeah,
flowers.
he was chewing on the flowers and I'm like, what? Young cats, when they chew, they tend to salivate. So I'm like, what is happening? So I found out my cats pala like dried flowers. So that's another lesson I put on the table. Just kidding. So that's one, that our feminine power is actually strong. Diba? The
Yes.
greatest
Mm-mm.
of these is love. Okay, number two learning. OMG. Our life, our situations, we get influenced a lot because of our family background, because of traditional beliefs. We get influenced a lot by our past experiences. Okay? It sounds cliche, but it's so true. Our past really does not define our present, nor does it define our future unless we allow it to. So for many women who go through coaching or even counseling, right? It's realizing for themselves, because, talking to them, giving advice it won't help unless the wisdom comes from within. Realizing that the past only serves to give us lessons on what we want or what we do not want to have in our lives moving forward. The natural tendency is to hold on to the hurts, hold on to the mistakes, hold on to the labels, create these identities that we form in our minds about who we are or what kind of woman and men, women we are because of what we've been going through. My goodness, like I had a lot of those self-labels when I went through a lot of those breakups. Or I felt like I was doomed to be single for the rest of my life because Nobody's going to love me anymore. I was getting old already. I'm not going to find the one, the right man for me. All those labels can tend to get stuck because the perception is, because this is what has been happening to my life, that's what's going to be happening to me for the rest of my life. But the reality is that is not true. That's all false information that gets embedded. So I would really encourage women out there and the men. I would really encourage women out there. Self cannot analyze self, right? There are people who spend weeks, months, and years trying to figure out their problems on their own, trying to figure out why they're having these issues that keep on coming back. I really suggest that go get out of that discomfort zone. I coined this term, di ba? Term is comfort zone. But it is really a discomfort zone because it is not where we want to be. It feels uncomfortable. Yet because we've been there for so long, it's been a comfortable discomfort zone. Anyway, so I really encourage women to really get out of their discomfort zone and find out, employ the help of a professional, counselor, a coach, or even like a transformologist, okay? But start out first with counselors and coaches. Wag muna transformologist unless you're ready at that highest level.
Sa self-actualization.
Yes, right? To really ask for help and, take away all the pride, take away all of the feelings of judgment, because counselors and coaches, our only purpose is really to help people break through, help women break through. No agenda, no bias, no whatever filters. Well, at least that's my training, right? To be able to help filterless, meaning all personal biases, all personal judgments are out the window when it comes to facing a client.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I will say this again and again, when you invest in yourself, the biggest benefit goes back to you. When you invest in your growth and your transformation, the only person who will benefit at the onset is you. Secondary benefit na yung loved ones mo, yung family mo, yung kids mo, yung partner mo, etc., etc. But, and Michelle, I'm sure you can relate regarding this one. Once I started learning, kasi before, my money was all for my family. Everything. As in, I had zero savings. But when I gave myself that opportunity to enroll in a program, get a coach, dati, I still remember that day when I first wrote a check to pay for this seminar that I was going to attend. Usually kasi I was the one giving the seminars, but this time I was going to be an attendee. It was only 8,000 pesos at that time, 2010. I'm writing that check and handing it over to the organizers. My hands were shaking. I couldn't let go of the check for 8,000 pesos, and it was for myself.
Wow.
But after that, right, I think, wow, 8,000 pesos compared to the transformation and awakening that I received. 8,000 pesos was like, oh my goodness, it's so much, what I got back was so much worth it. So that's another thing. Ladies who are listening or men who are listening, give yourself the chance to do something for yourself. It's not being selfish. It's not being self-centered. But because your growth, investing in your growth, will also help other people as well. Remember, you cannot give what you do not have. If you don't love yourself, if you're helping others, but you're quietly hating yourself, if you're serving others, but deep inside you don't like the person who you are, where's the alignment in that? Where's the congruence in that? Right? So I've said this in my talks, I've said this to other women, start with yourself. It's like planting the seed in yourself. So that when you bloom, when you bloom, your colors come out, your light comes out. And when you are able to light yourself up, you will shine so brightly that you cannot help but share your light even to others who see you or witness you.
It's really beautiful. Would you consider investing in yourself as part of self-care as well?
Of course, of course. Before entering into personal development, investing in myself was buying perfume, buying new clothes, buying a bag, going to a spa. And I realized, oh my goodness, those material stuff, fleeting, temporary. Retail therapy works for what, 30 minutes, 1 hour? After that, poof, gone. You get a massage, but when you come back to the same issues that you have in your life, the relaxation from the massage is only good for 1 hour. True or true, right? So before you work on the external, start with the internal.
That's beautiful. I I really resonate with that. So ito, before we end,
Yeah.
kasi with you struggled so long to
Hmm.
answer the call. But personally, what would you tell others? How could they follow their hearts, their own truth, to listen
Mm.
to God's voice or yung mga messages na yun? Kasi I'm sure tuloy-tuloy yun eh, di ba? Hindi naman titigil ang spirit eh.
Yeah, yeah. In my case kasi, it was not just God speak to me, he was speaking to through other people.
In most
He's,
cases, ganun nga.
yeah. He spoke through Brother Bo. Brother Bo spoke to me and he told me to do something and I was just smiling at him, looking at him in my mind and like, I'm not gonna do that. Just in 2016, we were in Sydney. And he just speaks to me. He goes, the speaker, Christine Kane. So we had just heard Christine Kane talk.
Oh, I've heard her speak.
Yeah. So after she spoke, while she was speaking, I was like crying buckets in my seat. This was in that huge stadium in Sydney. I forget the name. Just crying buckets. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm resonating so much with this woman. Who was she? Who was she? So that night when our group had dinner, Bo was sitting in front of me. Brother Bo, he goes, you know what, Rezza? Christine Kane? And I was like, sino si Christine Kane? Hindi ko pa alam yung pangalan ng girl. He was like, she reminds me so much of you.
Wow.
And I'm like,
amazing.
Kinabahan na ako. I'm like, what is she going to say next, right? and then he goes, we really need more speakers like you. The feast needs more female speakers like you. And I was like, sinaiyak na ako because I knew he was wanting me to do something. I just nodded and I said, thank you. And then I hid. I hid from him. I only said yes to Bo again last year lang. So, what am I saying? For others, you know what? The experience might be different from others. Journal your thoughts when you're in prayer. And when I say in prayer, as in silent prayer, meditation, prayer meditation, a centering exercise where you're just quiet, with your mind blank, you're praying to the Spirit to speak to you, you're praying God to reveal His word to you. And it helps to read His word, right? So it's not just your thoughts, because when you're not used to meditation and prayer, it can be just your thoughts. Allow the word to minister to you, to speak to you, and then journal. Okay, that's how I started when I was in my 20s. Like 2 years ago. No, I'm just kidding. That's how I started when I was in my 20s. And then, ayan, when you know you have gifts, some of us kasi, I like doing that, but only when I'm alone, when I'm in the banyo. But actually, when we have gifts, other people appreciate our gifts more rather than us appreciating what we have. So when people give you feedback about how you're so good at so and so, fill in the blank, that is already a sign that your gifting is something worth giving attention to and growing. Okay. In my case, it's probably like what, 18, 19, 20, when people would give, actually even younger people would say, I'm a gifted speaker, such a good teacher, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thanks. And then exit frame. Yeah, as in talaga, I just like say thanks, but ignore, not acknowledge. Major mistake, right? So listen to what other people are telling you about your gifting, your talent. You're so good at this. Oh, you're so amazing when you do this. Listen to that. Okay. And then lastly, it's learning to trust yourself. Learning to trust yourself. A lot of women, a lot of people are unable to do what they're supposed to do because of self-doubt. Again, discomfort zone. Okay? So it's learning to recognize again the greatness that is already in you. There is a reason why it was planted in your heart, planted in your being, because our gifts are not meant for our consumption. Our gifts are meant so that it can be manifested and shown and shown to others. Diba? Our light was not, it was not meant to be hidden under a bushel basket. It's meant to be open for the world to see. So there.
Thank you so much for sharing us your gift. I've learned so much from this conversation, and I hope that those who are going to watch this inside the community also gain something gain value from this conversation. Actually, when I post this video, I'm also going to include Coach Rezza's page, her official page, so at least you'd also get to know her other services and the things that she's doing, all the activities that she's doing. She's quite active in her page. So that's it. So thank you so much once again, Teresa, for being here. I really appreciate this. And for favored ones, well, alam nyo naman, lagi kong sinasabi, di ba? You're highly favored and truly, truly blessed. So use your gifts. You know, it's all inside. It's now time to really shine and show it to the world, just like what Coach Reza has said. So thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining us. And I wish you all the best. God bless everyone.